Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. First day on the job site. I'm going to do a little walkthrough and show everything we're going to do on this job. Also, I'd like to say that if you noticed, we're all wearing Ariat gear, Ariat pants, Ariat sweater, really comfortable stuff. I keep getting more because I like it, and I've been wearing it quite a bit. It's really class stuff. It's comfortable. I think if anyone gets any, you're gonna love it. You probably never wear anything else. Actually, I know I don't really want to wear anything else. Anyway, let's take a look at the job. As we come around here, we're removing the entire side yard, wall to wall. Big drainage problem here. Nothing drains out of the backyard. So we're going to be adding drains as well. All this patio's coming out. We're going to do some downspout adapters into the drain. We're going to put a couple lawn drains out here. We're going to get a full-blown aluminum patio on the back of this house. That's not part of my gig, but I'm going to get it prepped to install with the foundations for the posts, the whole works. But all this is coming out. We've got a water sprinkler service. This is your supply line that shoots out over to your valves for irrigation. That's going to be tricky to remove. We've got to watch out for that. No isolation around the pipe and the concrete. We're going to stop it right here. This is where we stop. So all the way around, drainage system. So stay tuned, and we're going to show how we get from point A to point B. Have a good one. Thanks. Okay, so we're going to remove this fence. It's a wood fence right here. It's fixed. It's not a gate. So that's going to come out because that's going to be our path of travel getting in and out of this backyard, and it's narrow too. And I'm going to be running a lot of trips through here once I switch buckets and start loading out. We tried the other side of the house too, but that was even harder because we had not only narrow, but we had some turns. So we ended up going this way to remove everything. So with that 3-foot wide CTX 100 Vermeer with the breaker attachment, we were able to just kind of break down the middle. I couldn't break 100% on this side yard because I couldn't turn, you know. It would have banged against the walls and stuff. So I just kind of broke the middle, gave it some space because it's bound in here between the house and wall. Once I shattered the center, it was real easy to use the the jackhammer, picks, bars to remove everything. So far the concrete's been pretty thin. It's only been running about 3.5 inches, but once we got to this next section, it starts really getting thick. We got up to about 6 inches thick in depth as we moved down that way. And I laid some plywood against the glass windows there because whenever you're breaking, you occasionally get some chips of concrete flying around. So we're protecting the glass there by laying that plywood up against it. There's some of the drain pipe we'll be using. And we're gonna tie in. They actually have a drain in the front yard that goes to the street. So we're gonna dig down and find that one and then tie in the drain that comes from the new one that's gonna come from this planter bed right here where that red flag is. That's going to be an area drain stub up in the planter bed, and then we're going to take that on out down the side yard, and then we'll do a couple area drains in the concrete as well on that side yard. This whole back patio will slope to the planter and hit those drains in the planter bed that we'll be adding. You can see that's pretty thin there. This came out really nicely. Now as we get down here, you can see it's much thicker now, and it's also big rock. That first piece was just some pea gravel, and then you get back further and we got into some 3/4 rock. So they were done at different times for sure. One was probably wheelbarrowed in and one was pumped in. The nice thing about when it comes out thick like that, which I actually kind of prefer, I prefer it to come out thick than thin because that gives me some space to put some road base in there without having to remove dirt, because dirt's very expensive to get rid of in this area, but concrete on the other hand is inexpensive to get rid of because it's recycled. Nobody wants dirt. I mean, it's hard to, you have to travel quite a ways, about a 2 hour drive to get rid of dirt inexpensively. There's some of the base I've already hauled back here. So since the concrete did come out so thick, I was able to take some of the dirt from the other end where the concrete was thin, move that native soil up to where the concrete was thick, put that in, then the base evenly over the top of everything. So a really consistent subgrade. Those holes are going to be for the future Alumawood patio cover. The homeowner is going to put that up himself. He's doing a DIY kit, Patios Direct or something like that. And he's going with the insulated cover, which is you can actually walk on top of it. So it's a little more expensive, but well worth it. Now we're digging the drain line trench in here, and it's just gonna pop up in the planter. When we dug down in the front yard to find the existing, well, it was only about 10 inches deep, so we don't have a lot of slope. But you could virtually put them in level as long as the exit is lower than the top height of whatever it's going into is higher. It's going to find its way out just by virtue of pressure and how water seeks its own level. There's the downspout we're going to tie in. He initially had it rigged up with about a 10-foot pipe on there, just on top of the concrete to kind of direct the water down, because otherwise it just would flood in the backyard. So you kind of got a lot of the the roof runoff out that and to the area where it did drain. Well, here's my setup, what I'm going to do here. And I really like the Ys, in these cases where the water's flowing in one direction. That way you can snake it real easy, or you could even push a water hose through this, the way I've set it up. These risers, I just randomly throw those in there long, and then I come back with a laser level later when I start establishing my finish elevation, and then I'll mark them down like 3/4 of an inch below all the lines on the wall and house. The way I like to snap when I have multiple drains like this, I create a high point in the middle of the two drains, and then I break it both directions from there. Also, the lines on the wall are sloped towards the drain. It's not just a straight line on the walls, they actually slopes on the wall as well. Here's some of the base. I'm going to dump that out here in the street, scoop it up with the mini skid steer and drive it into the backyard. And I was driving right over this lawn with that mini skid. You can see how nice this lawn looks. Really well maintained and manicured. And this is that Marathon 2. And, it's doing really well. But the CTX 100, the way the tracks are on that, you can drive over lawns, artificial turf, a lot of things you'd never be able to drive over with a wheel loader. You got a roll of expansion foam there by Quickcrete. I'm going to be gluing that all the way down that block wall and all the way down the side yard. Give it a little space for expansion contraction. You have different structures built different ways, and the foundations go in the ground differently. When they do want to shift, they're going to shift differently than each other because they're different foundations. So that's why you need those little spaces in there, the expansion foam. Now we just use the aluminum 10-foot 2x4 to screed the base off to get it really nice and consistent through there at 4 inches deep. It's actually 3.5 inches, the 2x4, but by the time you compact, you're at probably 4.5. Depends how well the compaction's going, how deep the lift is and stuff like that, how much water you have in there in the base. A lot of factors. There's the old plate compactor from Tomahawk, $1,400 unit. Got the Kohler engine on it. Now here's the fiberglass reinforcement. These are 3/8 inch diameter rods made of fiberglass, so they never rust. You could store these, in other words, outside. You could have bulk material and never be concerned with it rusting. You know, when you get rusted steel, you really can't put it in concrete, especially if you're on a state job or any kind of a job that's going to get inspection of it. It's rusted steel. It's going to have to be sandblasted, going to have to be cleaned. Real nightmare. So with this fiberglass rod, you know, it's just, you can set it out there for months, years, and it doesn't really change, and then install it. I put a couple angle rods on those corners, protruding corners there, because that's where concrete likes to crack. So we just kind of put a little something there to stop it from cracking, or at least hold it together when it does crack. Oh, there's that Mobile One synthetic, and that hand pump sprayer. That's going to go on the wood. And I wrapped that. They had that water supply line. I wrapped it with the same expansion foam that I use on the wall. Duct taped it in there. Now it's isolated. Alright, well, thank you for watching this video, and make sure you like and subscribe. That was part 1 of a 2-part series, so stay tuned. The next one's going to be right up.